Hi, it's Brian with Reclaimed Republic. If this is your first time here, I'm a full-time eBay reseller that sells in the everything category. So I sell cookware, tools, toys, stuffed animals, cassette tapes, you name it. You'll see plenty of examples of that here today. Also a part-time YouTube content creator, as you can tell by the YouTube video. But today we're going to be talking about a couple things. First thing, if you're here for the thumbnail, we're going to get into that first and foremost. And then we'll get into last week's sales. We'll be talking about the worst sales, the best sales, and all the profit and costs and everything that goes along with that. So stick around. Before I get into anything eBay sales related, we're just over 500 subscribers on the channel now, which has all happened in about the past 30 days. So I want to give a heartfelt thank you to everybody who's watching the videos and is subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, keep watching the videos anyhow. I hope you find something useful in them. And if you want to leave a comment down below, be happy to answer any questions anybody has to the best of my ability. I'm not an expert, but happy to help where I can. Now let's dig right into the thumbnail of today's video with FedEx. Is FedEx ripping off eBay resellers? I don't know if ripping off is the right word. It's a little bit of a mystery right now. I sold I'll put a picture of it up here, a truck toolbox a couple weeks ago. Really great profit margin, really great sale. And 2 days ago, I got a message from eBay saying there were, what did they call it? Additional updated charges to your shipping label, something like that. And I opened it up, and I had originally paid $12.22 for the shipping, and I got an additional charge of $29.75, which just knocked me down. It's like, okay, well, there goes the profit of selling that thing. So pretty close to it. So at first I thought, man, I must have made a mistake, and I went back and reviewed everything, and I've learned a couple of things, and there's some stuff that's still a little bit of a mystery to me, and I'm going to share all that right here, right now. So the big thing I learned is that FedEx does not ship in anything but full pounds. So the last few shipments I've done with FedEx, I've shipped, if it weighed, this one weighed 4 pounds and 4 pounds 8 ounces is what it weighed. So I'm thinking, or 4 pounds 5 ounces, I'm sorry. So it weighed 4 pounds 5 ounces, which is what I put in the shipment information, and I put the dimensions, and I always round up 1 ounce. Just to account for any extra tape I put or the shipping label. I always round up 1 ounce, and I always round up to the nearest inch. So it was a 27 by 10 by 6, and I actually sent it in a giant trash bag. I wrapped it around it, so it wasn't a box, but those were the dimensions, and I taped it down, and so those were the dimensions, and the shipping label through eBay said $12.22. So bought it, shipped it, all good. And then I get this charge, and I was like, okay. And then the message, it said billable weight 5 pounds. I'm like, okay. So I go back and look, and I actually took the dimensional weight. That's one thing eBay doesn't talk about a whole lot. There are articles, if you really dig into it, that talk about billable weight. And I do know what billable weight is. It's for lightweight items that are really big. This wasn't, I didn't think it was huge. It was maybe long, but it wasn't really big. So I calculated the billable weight and put that into FedEx's calculator, their shipment calculator, with the zip codes, just like they instructed me to. And I came up with a cost at retail, FedEx retail, this isn't with eBay's discount, of $19.64 to ship it. So now I have this $7.42 difference at retail, which with the discount from eBay, I think probably would have been more like a $5 difference. but I've got FedEx charging me $29.75. So I didn't want to just jump on YouTube and complain about it. I called eBay, talked to somebody there. I'll say it told me the estimated wait time to talk to an agent was 5 minutes, and it was probably less than 4 minutes before they called me back. They called me very promptly. I feel like I got the assistance I needed. The gentleman I talked to said that they weren't sure what the process was. He did explain to me that the shipping calculator on eBay is based on USPS. If you're going to ship UPS or you're going to ship FedEx, you need to calculate the billable weight. If it's a larger, somewhat larger item, or really any item, because UPS or FedEx is going to charge you the higher of the two. So if the billable weight is more than the weight of the actual item, that's what they're going to charge you, and you still have to put in the accurate dimensions. So he did inform me of that, asked me if I'd like to put in a shipping dispute, and I said, well, it sounds like maybe this was my error for not knowing. There are articles on eBay you can get to. You got to do some digging, but you can get to them to talk about the billable weight. And I said, I don't know if I can dispute it. I mean, I didn't learn the information. Sounds like maybe it was my fault. He goes, well, you've never disputed anything. I think if you dispute it, if we put in a dispute, there's a good chance you'll get some sort of credit from eBay. So that was just all this morning. I have no idea if there's going to be a credit. I don't know what the resolution is going to be. I can follow up with that in another video. But he did offer that resolution, and that was it. So I know they don't necessarily know all of FedEx's practices. My question to him was, does any of that $29.75 come from eBay, or does it all come from FedEx? And he stated it all comes from FedEx. So then I called FedEx. Well, that was an absolute nightmare. I spent 2 minutes at first, 2 or 3 minutes, and I couldn't get anywhere. So then I called back and I was going through their automated service, and I'm stating what I'm looking for, and I couldn't find it. Trying to send me to the billing department and then to lost shipments department, and finally they sent me through to an agent. I tried the old trick of saying agent a couple times, and they said, we know you want to talk to somebody, but you have to tell us why you want to talk to somebody. So they're pretty keen on that. But finally got to somebody, and I was explaining what I was talking about on the additional charges, and they said all they could tell me was that it was delivered, and because I shipped it through eBay on eBay's account, it's not my own personal account, they weren't able to dig into why the charges were different or how the amount was. They wouldn't tell me anything, basically. So I had a 5-minute conversation with the person on the phone. You weren't able to give me any information beyond the fact that it was delivered. Yesterday, I happened to be at FedEx shipping an item, and I asked the store manager there how that's all determined, because I had him check the weight and the dimensions on the thing I was dropping off to make sure that everything was accurate, and it was. And he said, well, it goes to a processing center, a sorting center, and they'll check items, as they're going through and determine if everything's accurate. And I said, well, is there somebody I could talk to? He goes, I don't know how that works. So I'm kind of at a dead end with FedEx. Other than maybe driving to a sorting facility and seeing if I can walk in and talk to somebody. But if anybody out there has any more information on how that's determined, I'd be interested in that. My assumption is that there's some kind of penalty charge when the difference would have been just $5 to $7 for having put in the incorrect information in the first place. There's like a penalty. Otherwise, $29.75 doesn't make sense at all for a charge. Seems pretty excessive. So right now I'm just waiting to see what happens with eBay, and we'll go on from there. I do wish eBay had something built in to where if you choose FedEx as the shipping carrier, which I had in the original listing, it would then go through and calculate the way FedEx says to calculate it. The person at eBay did mention that FedEx won't give them access to their shipping software to use for that type of thing. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I wish it was accurate up front coming through eBay. That's just really a bummer. So if you're considering shipping through something through FedEx, make sure, or UPS, make sure you're double checking your weights, which is length times width times height, and then divided by 166, and you come out with your billable weight. So, but that's off the top of my head. Don't take my word for it. Look on their websites or find those articles there on eBay. Okay, enough ranting about me potentially losing $30. It's not something that's going to end my world. It was a little bit of an annoyance, but we'll get past it, and learned a valuable lesson there too. So we'll just keep on. It's a funny thing we'll get into. So I got this extra about $30 charge, and as I was doing my numbers this week, which we'll get into, actually made an extra $30 on shipping this past week, which is unusual for me. Usually I'm behind by about $10 or so because of free shipping items, but actually made about 30 or 31 extra dollars on shipping. So little blessing there. Kind of offset the extra charge from FedEx. But that's why some of that stuff is important, is to keep your business running and keep the profit in your pocket. So all right, let's get into the total numbers first, how we looked for the total week. So it was a little bit of a slow week, which I've been watching other folks' YouTube videos this past couple days about last week's sales and sales overall, and it sounds like everybody's having it a little bit slow, but I'm sure that's not everybody. There's probably some people out there killing it. I hope you are. But for me, it was a little bit slow. So we did 25 sales last week, which is 2 sales less than I would need to be trending to 1% of inventory sold per day. Not horrible at all, but just a couple shy. So those 25 sales were, let's see, I'm going to put all the numbers right up here, $583.67. And then once you take out all the shipping and then the fees, the ad fees and everything up here, you've got $366.34 in pre-tax profit, or a 63% profit margin. So really like to stay above 60% profit margin for weekly sales. I feel like, then I'm in a better spot once I pay the taxes and everything like that to put money back in my pocket and go out and buy more inventory. So of everything that sold, 13 of the 25 items were sourced from an estate sale. So that was the number one purchasing source. That was 52% of the items sold. 12 of the items were sold on a promoted listing, or 48%. That's down a little bit. I've been up near about 60 to 70% of sales on promoted listings. So came down to 48%, which is nice to see. That means that, I didn't have to spend that ad fee on top of the platform fee. And then items sold on an offer, which is an offer I sent out to a buyer. There were 9 items, or 36% of the items sold. Now, there were 2 items that had a crossover, so that were sold on a promoted listing and sold for a price on an offer that I made. So 2 of those 25 items got a double whammy on the fees there. So again, I've got all that built into the pricing, so I'm not, bent out of shape about having to pay 2 different fees whenever I'm selling those items. Let me know if you're watching this and you're a reseller, if you promote your listings. If you do, if you don't mind sharing what percentage you promote at, if you have any set rule. I tend to promote at 2 to 3% on average, and then I'll promote some items at 5% if there's a lot of them for sale and the sell-through rate is kind of not awesome. And then if items have a 100% sell-through rate or more, typically I do not promote those items, just because I know it's going to move and I don't need to spend the extra money. So that's general for me. It's not in stone. There's always a little bit of wiggle room in sales. So let's talk about the worst 5 items that sold last week first. Get the bad part out of the way and rip the Band-Aid off. Now, these are worse. I measure these from a profit perspective. So the least amount of profit, the 5 with the least amount of profit. Now, there were 2 personal items I sold last week that zeroed out on the profit. Those aren't included in here. I keep all the personal stuff out of the way. Those are lower dollar sales, but I keep them out of the way. And these are the things I actually bought and then sold. So looking at the 5th worst item of the week is this Dealers Transport Incorporated ashtray. This is a vintage trucking ashtray. I bought 5 of these at an estate sale on the first day. I probably should have waited. They were back in a cupboard and boxes, and I doubt anybody else would have ever found them, but I thought they were cool, and I saw some comps for them. Not this exact one, but similar style, and bought all of them. There's a few different styles, but all from the same company, and bought them for $5 a piece. Sold this one for $13.92 plus shipping for a $5.46 pre-tax profit, or a 39% profit margin. So not the best. Really, to get the margin where I want it to be, I needed to pay about $2 for it. And having bought so many of them, I probably should have tried to bargain. This was the very first time I'd been to this company's estate sales. I'd never heard of them before, and it was on the first day, and it was an hour into the sale. So I wasn't asking for bargains yet. But I should have. No harm in asking. Worst they can say is no. But still, got it out the door, made some money, gonna go buy some new inventory. The 4th worst sale of the week is this I Love You statue. So picked this up at an estate sale for $1, sold it for $9.89 plus shipping, which was a $4.78 pre-tax profit, or a 48% profit margin. So profit margin is creeping up there a little bit. Still not great profit from a perspective of, buying, storing, pictures, packing, all that sort of stuff. But, honestly, I've seen a handful of these now at some estate sales. If I saw another one, I'd probably buy it and sell it for $9.89 again. Interesting part on this is there was a few of them sold, not a lot. There's a handful of them sold. The sell-through rate's pretty low on these statues or figures. There's a lot of them for sale. And what I noticed was, first off, about a third of them had really, really bad pictures. And then the rest of them were trying to sell them for like $15 to $17. And they were selling really around the $8 to $12 range. So I just popped my price right in the middle at $9.89 and sold it in about a week after getting it listed. So just pay attention to your pricing. Whenever you're looking at how to price an item, you do want to see how many are for sale, and you want to be aware of what people are trying to sell them for, but also you want to make sure you're paying attention to the sold comp pricing to see what the actual market is paying for those items. You can think it's worth $25, but if somebody only paid $12, it's worth $12. So just pay attention to that. You don't want to race to the bottom and just undercut everybody, but you want to sell at that price that people are paying for those items. And of course, on holiday type items, it's going to differ a little bit seasonally, but this isn't a seasonal type item. So, all right, 3rd worst sale of the week is this Vera ID holder, Vera Bradley. It's a cool little ID holder. I was at one garage sale, and I think I bought 5 or 6 pieces from them for $2 a piece. I do regret that. I wish I would have asked for $1 a piece for buying all of them, but I didn't. I don't know why. I bargain at garage sales. I think it's because I ended up talking to the 2 ladies running the garage sale. We were talking about stuff, and at the very end, I just forgot to ask for a deal. I don't know what happened in my brain, but I forgot to ask for a deal. So anyhow, I paid $2 a piece for them. Sold it for $7.89 plus shipping for a $4.01 pre-tax profit, or a 51% profit margin. So even if I paid $1 for it, it would have made $5.01. Still not an awesome sale, but it's okay. And if I saw them again for $1 a piece, I'd probably buy them. And the only thing I was thinking of, 'cause that's the first piece I've sold. I still have 4 or 5 other pieces. The only thing I may do different is I may lot them up and sell it all as a lot to somebody else who wants to either collects it or wants to spend more time selling them on other platforms for more money, and made a decent chunk of profit selling it at one price. So that's okay. It's out the door. Got some money in my pocket. The second worst sale of the week is this SimCity disc. And I talked about this one on my daily sold video a couple days ago. This one I bought at an estate sale, and I walked in and they handed me a plastic bag and said $5 for the whole bag, fill it up. Okay, so I bought a bunch of vintage 90s electronics. I bought some really odd magnetic metal shoe, like insole inserts, just a whole bunch of stuff that I've already sold out of that bag for about 70 or 80 bucks worth. But I had assigned a cost to this disc. And there was another PC game that I sold, but I assigned the cost of this disc to 50 cents. I forgot that I'd put it free shipping, completely forgot whenever I sent the offer, and I sent an offer out for $501 because in my head I thought it was plus shipping, but it wasn't. So sent it out for $501 free shipping, made negative 59 cents or a negative 12% profit margin. So not great. I made so much money on the other stuff in the bag that I'm not worried about it. But it did burn me up a little bit whenever I got to packing it and saw that it was free shipping and I was buying the label. I was like, I cannot believe this. So live and learn. And then number one, this was on the thumbnail of Monday's video. Worst sale of the week are these Adidas Pharrell collaboration. They're the NMD style of shoe, and I think they're the Human Race shoe. So he's got 2 or 3 different styles of them that he collaborated with Adidas on. I picked these up at a Burlington Coat Factory for $33 because I saw some sold comps that were in the $60 to $65 range in a different colorway, not these specific ones, a little more like deep orange. But these were not the way to go. So I regret it. And but I had taken the tags off and thrown them away and had them listed, and anyhow, so negative $8.03 on those shoes and negative 25% profit margin. So made some of my money back, and I'll go spend that on some inventory that's not from Burlington or Ross or wherever else. So I've definitely taken a personal lesson on retail arbitrage, and I was not doing it the right way. So for right now, I'm not doing it. So we'll just go with that for now. All right, now let's talk about the 5 best sales of the week. This is the fun part where we get to talk about bigger dollars, bigger profits, and items that I would definitely pick up and sell again and again and again. So let's talk about the 5th best sale of the week. My wife picked this one up at an estate sale. It's a little German, I think they called it like a fairing pig in a cup. Really cool little display piece, little porcelain piece. And she'd thought about keeping it, and then she goes, well, what does this sell for on eBay? And I was like, I think it sells for 25 bucks. She goes, well, I don't love it 25 bucks. so sell it. So picked it up for $4 at the estate sale on 75% off day. Got it out the door for $24.89 plus shipping for a 68% profit margin, or $16.98 profit. So at home we play a little game. If we're together as a family and my phone cha-chings, everybody tries to guess what sold. And my wife guessed the pig in the pot for like a week straight. Every time she guessed the pig in the pot, and it never was. She goes, I'm gonna have to keep that thing forever. It's never gonna sell. And like the second day she stopped guessing it is when it sold. So it was pretty funny. But anyhow. All right. 4th best sale of the week is this Radio Shack mail alert. So I picked this up at a garage sale for $2, sold it for $24.89 plus shipping for an $18.72 profit, or a 75% profit margin. Now, this is still out there. This was a new open box vintage item from Radio Shack. I opened the box. There was 2 pieces of cardboard and everything was in plastic. And I just separated and I looked and I was like, looks like it's all there. And I put it back together and slid it in the box. I did not take every piece out and make sure that every piece was there for it. So new rule for me, if it's open box, I'm double checking every single piece, because the guy opened up a return and on this item. Now, he opened up the return and said, missing this thing. And when he had the cardboard open, it looked like a pretty big gap where the thing would be. The transmitter, I was like, I thought I swear I saw that like in the box. Like there was no empty spaces for stuff to be. So I don't know if he's just trying to get, a partial refund out of me for that. I think like to think the best of people, and I think I legitimately missed something and that he's not trying to do that. If the item comes back without the transmitter, I guess I'll know that either he took the transmitter out and lied, or there was really no transmitter. Either way, I don't really have any recourse, because I can't, from my mind, guarantee, because of the way I went through the item, I didn't pull it all apart and check it. So we'll see if it actually makes its way back. So I have had people open up returns before and they never send the item back, because I don't, quickly message them and say, oh, let me send you some money and you keep it. So I'll just take the item back, sell it for parts, throw it in a trash can. I don't know what I'll do with it, but we'll see if it comes back. Third best sale of the week is this Michael Kors watch. This is another item my wife picked up at another estate sale. Picked this up for $6. This is their Skylar Emerald with the like cubic zirconia like around the bezel. It was a pretty cool watch. I was shocked she didn't want to keep it, but she didn't love it enough. So bought it for $6, sold it for $29.89 plus shipping for a $21.71 pre-tax profit, or a 73% profit margin. I did sell it without a battery. Called that out in the description and everything. Let them know that it did need a battery. There was a scratch on the face. I pointed that out in one of the pictures, and so just wanted to make sure I was very clear on what the person was getting, so there was no surprises. You'd probably never see the scratch if you weren't holding it in the right angle of light, but I wanted to be upfront about it, so got that out the door. Number 2, this is a cool one. Got this pressure cooker at the Goodwill outlet, or the Goodwill bins here in Oklahoma City. I actually picked it up. It's been a while when I picked it up, but I had to clean the heck out of this thing just to get it in presentable condition. So probably spent 30 minutes cleaning it up, but picked it up at the bins for $10, which probably sounds heavy or expensive, but it's heavy. This is a heavy item. I think I shipped it was like 20 pounds. It was heavy. So picked it up for $10, sold it for $79.89 plus shipping. So All-American pressure cooker number 7, I think. So it's a $50.21 pre-tax profit, or a 63% profit margin. So that one only, once I got it listed up, it was only in my store for maybe a week, maybe a little bit less. It went pretty fast. I did price it competitively, so there were some people who had lowballed them or sold them on auctions for like 40 or 50 bucks. There's some people who sold them for 120 bucks. The ones selling at the higher prices had a much nicer finish. I mean, almost mirror-like, and just looked immaculate. This one was still going to probably take a little bit more cleaning if somebody cared about that. It just didn't look as nice. So I listed it at $80 and was hoping it would sell pretty fast, and it did. So glad to see that one go out the door. And that one I packed in a Lowe's box. I get a lot of used boxes, but I packed that one in a Lowe's. It was a 18 by 18 by 16 box. It was fit perfectly with all the packing material. And if you do ship those Lowe's boxes or Home Depot boxes, do not ship them by the measurements listed on the box. Always add an inch, because those are interior dimensions, not exterior dimensions. So you always want to round up to the next inch on your packing, so you don't get busted, because you will get charged extra for that, and I know that for sure. So, all right, the first best sale of the week, or the best sale of the week, is this vintage Motorola brick phone, beige. It's like a Dynatac 8000 something. It had a weird name. I bought this at an estate sale for $5 at the same estate sale that I bought that I Love You statue at, actually. Bought those in the same place. So I bought this phone for $5. I'd walked by it a few times. I noticed the antenna was broken on it, and I was like, this thing is like ancient. Like, no one's gonna want this. And then I thought, what am I thinking? This is silly. Just snap a picture of it, see what it's worth. And boy, was I shocked. Even most of them that sell are with broken antennas, because over time they just break off. You can go buy new antennas for those, but anyhow, I listed it up. I sold it in, I think, about 4 or 5 days, and was blown away that it sold for $149.89 plus shipping. I'd taken all the pictures for it, and then I searched it back up on eBay to do a sell similar, and I saw a listing where they had plugged it in their car, and you could see that it turned on. It's like, why didn't I do that? Because it is made, it's got the lighter adapter to plug into your car. So I went and plugged it in, and was relieved whenever it powered on and numbers came up. You could type in numbers, and so that was the lead picture for the listing, and it worked. So a $126.82 pre-tax profit, or an 85% profit margin. So that was just a phenomenal pickup. I can't wait to find some more of those at garage sales, and hopefully I can pick them up for $5 or less. Or, I mean, heck, I'd probably pay 10 or 20 bucks for that if I saw it at a garage sale now, knowing what it is and how much you can sell them for. So pretty cool sale for sure. Well, that's really going to wrap it up for this week's sales. It was a pretty decent week last week. Again, fell just a little bit short of my of the standard kind of 1% per day sell through on inventory, but this week has started off pretty strong, so I'm excited to see that. If you do have any comments or questions, please leave those down below. There's going to be some videos down here somewhere that you'll see if you want to see other videos like this. I hope you have a great day.